And one of my like big goals and dreams right now is to make Philadelphia the coolest city on earth.
Yeah.
Like I have plans to build a bar this coming year. I have I'm trying to build up the area a lot. I want to give back to the kids, make sure they're getting opportunities. So
very important.
Whatever I can do to make Philadelphia bigger, badder, stronger, cooler, that's what we're working on.
Yeah.
100%. Why wouldn't you? I said.
Love you guys. Peace. Hello. Welcome back. We are back for another episode of Rich from the Net. I'm Rich, and I'm seated here with a good pal of mine. What do you go by, John Dempsey?
I go by JD.
JD, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll give a little backstory on like how we met. I followed you on Instagram. I really liked what you were doing on your page. I thought this guy's like super into real estate. It was a new passion of mine.
Awesome.
So I just like got like into real estate about a year ago, and like trying to learn all the processes, like read all the things I can on it. And then, I'm kind of in the construction side of things right now. But I really liked how you were, what really struck me was you did like a story one day about how you were going to go to, I don't know, I forget what you were going to a courthouse to do like a tax abatement.
Yes.
Something like that?
Yeah, I was dropping off the tax abatement paperwork after a recent purchase.
Right. Okay, so what I want to know, I want to know how you got started. I want to know, how you got into the whole real estate game. Like, was it like a gradual process where you're just like, I'm going to go full throttle? Like, how did it come to be?
That's a really great question. I think a lot of people out there, like, real estate piques their interest.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, what had happened was I had bought my first house, and I knew I was going to be buying more houses because I was into the investing side of real estate.
Okay.
So I decided to go get my license, and with getting my license, I figured I might as well work as an agent and help friends out. I wasn't really looking at it as like a career, so to speak.
Right.
But over time, as I became more into it, and it's just like one of those energy things. Whatever you're passionate about, you start to attract more of it.
Okay.
And I switched out of being in insurance to being a real estate agent full time.
Oh.
And that's how I ended up where I'm at today.
So are you from the area?
Yeah, so I grew up in Pottstown.
Okay.
So not too far outside of Philadelphia, but I've been living in Philadelphia for about 6 years now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I feel like I know the city pretty well at this point.
Yeah.
When I first got there, I was driving Uber and Lyft and using that to pay for school. And then just from that, between that and being an agent and touring people in all different places, I feel like I know the city like the back of my hand.
So you went to school in the city, or you just moved out there after school?
I moved out there after school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you like being an agent? I'm halfway through my it's an online school, so it's just like I'm halfway through. I'm learning a shitload. So basically, to give you a little insight, like right now, I'm in the foreclosure side of things. So like,
okay,
some lady dies or something like that. Like I'll go in, assess the house, write a report, assess the damage, what needs to be done, like that kind of stuff, and then they can get it up for sale. And that's what I've been doing for about a year now. Before that, I was a blueprint reader for like a real estate, iron and steel company. So I was like, all right, maybe I'll be a blue collar guy, and then switched over to that. I'm like, you can do both with real estate. It's like kind of like an industry where you can do anything really, and you meet a lot of new people. It's different every day. Like I'm like so happy and like fortunate that like this is like an idea that I just like came across a year ago and was like, oh, like there's so many different facets. You can meet so many people, and like people, go to a 9 to 5. They sit in like a cubicle. They don't really like change up. Like, do you kind of like get that vibe a little bit? Like you just do anything.
Yeah. Your schedule is totally flexible, so you get to make your schedule however busy or however not busy you want it to be. There's days where if you don't feel like doing anything, you don't have to.
Yeah.
And there's days if you feel like going all day, like 8 in the morning till 8 at night, you can. A lot of times with your schedule, you're going to be working when other people don't have work. Yeah. Because that's just the nature of the game. Like people are going to want to see houses outside of 9 to 5. They're going to want to see things on weekends. Yeah. So it's very similar to like the restaurant industry or hospitality industry where you're just working those later hours. Yeah. And your days are pretty free. But the bigger you get in real estate, the more you make that schedule.
Right.
And you can pick and choose. You don't have to show things on weekends if you don't want to.
Right, exactly. Yeah, man, I liked it. And you were like super like nice about like when I scheduled you to come here, like it was super like cool, like you followed up, like you were real on time. Like I get a lot of like people who are like, damn, well I'll be there when I get there, like 20 minutes late, 30 minutes late. It's just like like podcast the podcasting thing is like different. So it's I don't know, maybe more like whimsical if that makes sense. Like people just come and go as they please. But that's so I started, like you said, like when we walked in, like I kind of took it in a different direction. I thought I was gonna go solo the whole entire podcast, and I was like, this is a medium, like podcasting is a medium to meet people, to interact with people, to hone the craft of talking with people, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And like you can like learn a lot from someone sitting down, turning your phones off, and just like talking, like experiencing. Like we don't have that anymore, like, you know what I mean? Like it's weird, you know?
It's really tough to find a space where people aren't glued to their phones.
Oh my God.
And where they put them away, and being behind camera, you can't be on your phone and on camera at the same time. So that totally
it's crazy sense. Like I used to go in college, like girls would be sitting at a party, like 3 girls on a couch, all of them just glued to their phone, not even talking to each other. They were friends, just not even hanging out.
Right.
And I would walk up to them and click like their lock button off, like, guys, we're at a party. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why I'm like kind of glad like this is like a fun hobby I picked up during quarantine. Yeah. It's
a great hobby to get into, and you will meet a lot of people doing this.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And content is being consumed at a higher rate than ever.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right now.
So you're doing, not to cut you off, but you're doing YouTube right now too, exploring that, like learning. It's a learning process. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And I went from having no media to throughout quarantine. I started my YouTube channel. I started actually trying on my Instagram, and went from more of a personal page to something that's a little more than that. So it's just been a learning curve, like you said, and getting myself out there and rolling with it.
So you didn't have any media at all? Like,
no. I mean, I was on Facebook and on Instagram, but there was next to no content associated with them. Oh,
wow. So you're a little bit older than I. So you kind of, you were in high school when people started getting like Facebooks and...
Yeah. I got my Facebook in high school. Like, Facebook used to be a little bit bigger.
Yeah. Now it's like old people go on there, but, to each his own.
Yeah. Instagram's still definitely very much a thing now.
Yeah. So,
how old are you?
24.
24? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 27.
Okay.
So not too much difference, but it does make a huge difference in how many people are just like on it at your age.
Yeah.
I feel like I just missed the cut.
Well, a lot of people, so that social dilemma, do you have Netflix?
I don't actually.
Oh, okay. Well, so there was a documentary on Netflix that came out. It's called The Social Dilemma, and it was like all the higher ups of the social media game, all like coming out. Like they gathered them all together to basically cancel like social media.
Wow.
So it was on Netflix and it did really well. But I'm like I have a couple friends that are around your age and like 30s. And they're like, yeah, like this is like the devil. Like this is like social media is dead. Like it's consuming my time. Like my brain is rotting. Like stuff like that. And I'm like, it's all about what you consume. It's like you gotta tailor your algorithm. They're not they're not out there trying to get you. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like people a little bit older who like came into it after their formative stage of life. Like that's when they, that's why they're like, yo, like. We gotta take out all our social media and just, I'm like, what else are you gonna do? Like you're gonna, like your life doesn't really change. So just keep it. Like you can stay informed.
Right.
So that's my thing on that.
Well, it's crazy how the algorithms work too. And people act like,
I think we got shared by the algorithm.
Yeah, we definitely did. It's people act like social media is the problem, but really they found a way to push everything that they think you'd be interested in, and they're usually right.
Yeah.
So anything that you are seeing is 90% created by you, not by them. So.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge YouTube guy. Like I love just watching videos, watching podcasts. Sometimes these houses are like out in like the middle of nowhere, So I'll like, because it's like foreclosures, like shitty properties.
Sure.
So it's like, I'll go out there and, you know, it's an hour and a half drive. And like, all right, I'll put on like a Joe Rogan podcast or like something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
And then you learn things during it. Like, you know what I mean? Like you, maybe I'll throw on an audiobook and I'll learn stuff like that way, you know? Some people are like, I feel bad for people who don't want to like learn and like don't want to improve, you know what I mean? And like better themselves.
A lot of times I think it's just a habit too, is people who haven't experienced that don't understand how great it is, or they've tried it and it just wasn't the right thing.
Yeah.
So then they put it back down.
Right.
But it's just the habits of like what you're doing when you're driving or with your free time.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be even at like the gym and I'll just throw on like a podcast and I'm like thinking like, how much of these people are like listening to like rap music that's not like gonna help you? Like how many of these people are just like kind of wasting like this like found time that you can have?
Right.
So you brought up a good buzzword that I love, habit. I have a personal, you know, vendetta against habits. Not vendetta, but like a personal like give and take with habits. I always try and form new ones, different ones, pick up hobbies here and there. So
what would you say your better habits are right now?
My better habits are reading and meditating. I'm a huge meditator. Don't really like yoga, but they go kind of hand in hand.
They do.
So I'll try and do yoga. I'm the least flexible person in the world, so that'll help. But yeah, they closed my gym down, so I've been on a break. I know you're doing the push-ups and all that kind of stuff. So.
Oh yeah, I've been into them. I just finished the 100,000 last week.
So how long did that take?
I started on February 3rd and I finished on December 29th. So little under 11 months.
Wow. So 100,000 push-ups.
100,000 push-ups.
What was the grindiest day?
It's definitely towards the end, because in the beginning it was fun and it was new, and towards the end it was like I'm running out of time. So I need to start like getting them in.
So it wasn't tough like at the end. It was just like I gotta find time.
Yeah, I mean I had already done 90,000.
Yeah.
So it's just finishing up those last 10, and then once it got to the last couple thousand, you see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's actually exciting to get close.
Yeah, man. So I'm doing that. So my solo podcast, I decided to read 50 books.
Okay, in 1 year is the goal.
The goal was to be like end of the summer, like it was just to be 50 books in summer reading, but that was a lofty goal. That was like not attainable whatsoever, like especially coming from zero reading to, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So now I'm at 36, and hopefully I started in May, so I'll probably be able to.
Wow, you're doing really well with that then.
Yeah, I'll probably be able to close in on that, but I was talking like for New Year's resolution with my buddies. I know I skip around a lot. That's my ADD
it's
in here.
Cool.
I was talking to New Year's resolution. What do you think about 1,000 miles? Running 1,000 miles in a year.
1,000 miles is a lot.
So I did the math. It's like 2.7 a day. So some days you're not going to run, so you're going to have to run like 4. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I liked you got me motivated with your push-ups. So I'm thinking about, because I'm a runner, like that's what I do. And just a hobby. So
yeah, I mean, if you have experience running, I think it's definitely doable.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But I liked that how you like took the number, made it seem so hard and impossible. So when I said it to my buddies, they were like, there's no way you can do that. I was like, it's 2.4 or 2.7 miles a day. And they're like, oh, like that's what, 20 minutes? And I'm like, yeah, you gotta think of things like broken down.
It's how you break it down. It makes it so much more doable.
Exactly.
And with the running, that's definitely doable.
Yeah. You can do that, you warm it up at the gym, you know, stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, so you're anything else other than push-ups? Do you like work out? Like we do like fitness, like I talk about fitness often.
Sure. At the beginning of quarantine, when everything was really closed down, I was doing a lot more home workouts and circuit workouts, and I made them not only for myself, but I put them up on my fitness website.
Oh, you have a fitness website?
I do, yeah.
I don't think I saw it.
Yeah, I haven't been promoting it as much lately, but me and my buddy just put out a promotion where we're going to donate all the proceeds from the fitness website to charity, and we're gonna put out like the home workouts and everything, and we're trying to raise $100,000 this year for the Philadelphia Children's Foundation.
Oh, okay. Guys, listen up. All right.
Push up the education system. So he just pledged to do 100,000 this year. I'm gonna try to do 50,000 pull-ups this year, and we're gonna try to raise $100,000.
Oh man. Okay. All right. So we're gonna be in talks. I want to like figure out how I can contribute.
Sure.
Oh, I didn't know about this. All right. So you're doing pull-ups. He's doing. Maybe I'll do something. Maybe I'll do the 1,000 miles.
Do the 1,000 miles. That'd be a really cool way.
And to get in. So you got the Instagram. You're gonna like start, plugging away on that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll probably start posting more about the fitness stuff.
Okay.
Trying to get back to that focus a little more.
I like it. Oh, sweet. That got me excited. Like that's awesome. So are you live free with JD on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the handle.
All right. So I want to talk about you're a business owner.
That's right.
Oh man, how's that right now? Tough?
It's tough, but it's a lot of fun. I wouldn't trade it in for the world, even on the worst days.
Really?
Yeah. So I run a property management company. We currently handle 72 properties, and it's not your typical long-term rental. We do short-term rentals, so Airbnbs, VRBO, stuff like that, which is a little more difficult right now with people not traveling as often, but it just makes the challenge more than ever.
So someone who owns a house will contact you and say, can you run my Airbnb?
Yes, exactly. Okay. Exactly. And my team handles everything from start to finish. We'll design the furniture, we'll get it all assembled, we'll do the photographs, the marketing, cleaning, every aspect of the rental we handle.
So does Airbnb's like huge now? Obviously. I mean, I don't have the app, so I don't really know.
They're big. I mean, they just went public on the market.
Really?
Yeah, so they're on the stock exchange now, and I think they were valued at almost $100 billion.
100 billion.
100 billion. I think they hit 100 billion valuation in the first week of them listing.
Wow. So when they came up with Uber, so
sure.
That's how people think of, like, to the layman, that's how people think of Airbnb is like, oh, they don't actually own anything. They're just, a tech company.
Sure.
That's what they say. So $100 million. 100. Wait, what'd you say? 100 billion. Jesus Christ, man! Wow, that's crazy. So basically, what you do is you curate from start to finish someone who wants to rent their property out. Do you find them a spot to live while their house is being rented out, or is it these guys are investors?
They're investors typically from the start, or they're people who are just getting into investing. So they're either moving in, they're already plan on moving somewhere else, but their place is already furnished. So why not rent it out furnished?
Yeah.
And what we find often is that these Airbnb rentals, especially if you have a nicer place or nicer furniture and you already took care of the property,
right,
they're going to make you 1.5 to even up to 3 times the amount you would make just renting it out traditionally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and then you don't even have to get rid of your furniture, which is the biggest hassle in moving. So you make
sure these people, like, say it's a younger crowd, they don't destroy the house, they don't, that kind of stuff.
And that's one of the fun challenges that I think a lot of people underestimate. It's all fun and games to put your property on there, but the security aspect of it is pretty intense. So we have noise monitors that go into the house, and they're monitored 24 hours a day. We have staff who will watch them, and they'll reach out to the guests or whoever's staying if it goes too high. And if the guest doesn't answer us, we have a security team that'll go out and remove people from the house.
Oh, really?
So we have it on lock from start to finish. But it was a process getting all that put into place.
Mm-hmm. So any of these properties that you manage, are they in bad neighborhoods, some of them, or? So
we try to stay in better neighborhoods. We have a couple that are more on the fringe side.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, I work in Philly all the time, so I've had my fair share.
And it's all relative, right? What is a bad neighborhood to you or I might not be to someone else. And as Philly natives like you and I, we might see a neighborhood and be like, oh, this is just Philly.
Yeah.
Whereas people from out of town might think it's not as great.
Right.
So it's navigating that front as well. But typically, most of our properties are in either up-and-coming neighborhoods that are on the way up and doing pretty well, or they're in center city and there's no problems. So
did you have family that was in real estate?
No, I started it up myself. Actually, both my parents thought it was a horrible idea to get into.
As they always like people people are always like, oh, podcasting, what are you gonna talk about? Like it's just like any negative, anytime someone hasn't done something, they're like, oh, that's a terrible idea because they don't know.
Right.
So they were like, so your parents said that, nah, don't do that.
Oh yeah.
Follow a different route.
Yeah.
What did they want you to do?
So they wanted me to do something more stable, and I think that's how all parents are. They're pretty risk adverse. They want you doing something more stable. They didn't want me to quit my salary job. It just play it safe, and,
right.
and be like everyone else. But I think they both have finally come to terms that I'm doing what I do.
Yeah.
And they knew it was always going to get to that point. So.
Dude, yeah, I totally know what you mean. Like I have like entrepreneurism in the blood. Like right now I have a salary job, but as soon as I figure out like maybe it's the podcasting, like maybe it's real estate. Sure. Maybe when I get my license, like I'll just start doing that, like working for myself. Entrepreneur is the blood. Both my grandfathers, they're both entrepreneurs, own their own business.
What were they doing?
The one was doing welding.
Okay.
So I thought I was going to work for his company. That's what I was doing. And then the other one, like, you name it, like furniture, sandwich shops. He had a store on South Street, like all this kind of stuff. Like they were my idols. So I was like, all right, yeah, like I'm just going to like do my own thing. Like I'm going to learn from them and then, be an entrepreneur. So I realized, oh, real estate's like the move. Like real estate, like 100% is the move. No one like, so I studied economics in college and
sure.
finance and economics, and you realize like there's a downturn like every about 10 years,
right?
10 to 12 years. So I was like, oh, I need to get into a recession-proof business, aka like foreclosures. The more people lose their houses, more like business we're gonna have. My job's gonna be secure. So find the secure job for the downturn, save the money, and Perfect. Then when everything's down, when everything's red, just buy.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing now. That's what I'm thinking of. I think it's going to go down a little bit more. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has to at some point. I mean, we've been on an upcycle. It's a really complicated theory to play with because we've been on the up for quite a long time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the last down was so much worse than any other down.
Right.
And was specific to real estate. So if you look at from where we came up from, like we're just getting past the old up.
Mm-hmm.
So it could go either way. It really could. It just depends on what happens with the economy and how it shakes out from here. But you're playing it really smart to be in a job that is more recession proof and is going to only flourish as a recession hits.
And like the best thing I like doing is like you learn what a good boiler is. You learn like the bones, like you learn the electric. You'll learn how to bust into a vacant house. You learn the process on how to kick squatters out. Like you know what I mean. Like
you learn all the
learn evictions.
Stuff.
Yeah. Oh definitely. Man, evictions are brutal. Like some of them are like I don't like going on. Like we do them on Mondays, and I was like I'll work 10-hour days so I don't have to be here on Mondays. You know what I mean? Like I just can't like emotionally I just can't do it. Like the evictions like. And then one of the workers I work with, he told me he lives in North Philly, and he's like, if you think about it, Rich, like they had like a couple years to know that they were gonna get evicted. Like they knew it's not an overnight thing. It's not like boom.
Oh, you're not on the street overnight by any means. If you have at least 10 months. Yeah. And 10 months where you weren't paying anything.
And then COVID is like.
And COVID's
exacerbating it too.
It's pushing it out. Not to sound heartless, but they do have plenty of time to figure it out, and they're also not paying. So compared to someone who has been paying rent, it's hard to feel bad for these people compared to people who also are in the same situation but found a way to scrape everything together.
Exactly. So
those are the real MVPs.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like it's kind of a tough business. There's actually a movie that I recommend to like anyone in real estate to watch. It's about like my job. It's called 99 Homes. Do you remember the shitty Spider-Man Andrew Garfield?
No.
Okay, so who's your Spider-Man?
I'm not a big Spider-Man guy.
Who's your Batman?
Neither.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine's Christian Bale. I don't know. Either Christian Bale. I think Christian Bale's not. So do you watch movies or no?
I'm not a big movie buff.
What about TV? No TV?
None.
So what do? Like you read, work out, like work on your business?
That's about it. Like I don't have a Netflix subscription. I don't watch movies. I don't have any
I think
of that
that's
stuff.
smart, man. That actually is probably pretty smart. So you're probably working on your business all the time.
Yeah.
100 hours a week.
Yeah, that's the focus. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's something to learn because I like media, like I like consuming stuff, like that is like my thing.
It's a gift and a curse because then I have a lot of trouble connecting when people do bring up like normal stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. As far as movies, like the fact that I couldn't even name someone who played Spider-Man or Batman, it's a little embarrassing. But
well, the Avengers guy is Tom Holland.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the best one, but there's a really crappy guy. So they're trying to
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire, and
He's
then
my Spider-Man.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. So Tobey Maguire, and then he did like 3 movies, and then they had one guy, and his name was Andrew Garfield, and he just flopped. Like it sucked. He sucked, and but he plays my role, like what my job would be in this movie called 99 Homes.
Okay.
And it's like the evictions and like the guy that goes there, like trashes out the place, gets the plumbers to plumb the building if it's leaking, like maintains the home.
Okay.
Until the bank can sell it to the like real estate companies.
Sure.
Or list it. And it's just like such a good movie. They like dramatize it a lot, like towards the end, but I recommend like it's I think $3-4 on YouTube.
Okay. Real cool that you can watch movies through YouTube now.
I know. Yeah, man. And that's how I saw it. I was like, 99 Homes, what is this about? And I read the description, I was like, this is like about my job.
That goes back to the algorithm we talked about.
Yeah,
that's how that movie found you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for real. All right, so have you been like reading any books lately? Are you like I read some Bigger Pockets stuff, some books that Warren Buffett like. Any books that are on your like bookshelf right now?
There's a couple books actually. One that I recommend to just about anyone is called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. So
I'm gonna write that down.
This book is all about figuring out like what you need to be doing day in and day out. And I don't know about you, but for me, I feel like I kind of just go through my day to day and there's things that are routine. But I know in the back of my head when I'm doing something, I'm like, why am I even doing this? Like,
yeah.
Does this translate to what I'm trying to work on?
Right.
And this book is all about getting back to like what you should be focusing on.
Right.
And getting rid of everything else.
Okay.
And that's really when I saw my business explode. I only started my company about 6 months ago.
Oh, really?
And now we're on track to do almost $3 million in revenue this year.
Wow! Congratulations.
From 0 to 6 months. During COVID in hospitality. So for that to happen, I give a lot of credit to this book because it got me refocused and it got me into the mindset of focusing on what needs to be done each day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's not like minimalism. It's more like choose like 3 important tasks for the day, knock them out first, and then after that, like figure out the next task. Like what is essentialism?
It's about not being pulled in every direction. And in life, I think there's so many influences on us, and you get hit up by so many people. You're not even really sure which way you want to go, which passions are the most important.
Yeah.
Like right now with you have your podcast. You still work your 9 to 5, and there's some other things that I'm sure you're exploring, and you're getting back into running. Mm-hmm. So you can have these things coexist, but then there are other things that if you keep trying to add into your schedule, you're never going to be good at any of them.
Like drinking and like stuff like that, like partying, going to the bars, going out to eat.
Right. And all that stuff takes time out of your schedule. But if you have to figure out a way to match up what you really want and what those day-to-day activities are. And this helps you push in that direction.
Right. Wow. So I wanted to circle back. So do you know who David Goggins is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I read his book, Can't Hurt Me.
Awesome. That's my favorite book.
It's a long book.
Yeah. I've read it about 4 times.
It's
fantastic. Love it. I read that like if I'm ever like in a rut, like if I'm ever feel like I'm not doing as much as I can, my mind races a mile a minute. So I'll read that and he'll slow me down. It'll get me grounded again. So he's real into pull-ups.
Sure, yeah.
Did you see like his records and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it was 4,080 in a day.
Is that insane? Or like, I don't know.
It's a lot. I mean,
I can only do like
it's
20.
a world record. So it's pretty good. The most I've ever done was a little over 600 an hour.
600 an hour?
In an hour.
Jesus, man. Like, are you like a Marine? Like,
no, I never have, but that was something that's always interested me.
Really?
I feel like I missed the boat.
Oh yeah, me too. I feel like I used to play with paintball guns in the backyard and with my brothers and airsoft since I was a kid.
That stuff's real fun. Those guys are tough, man.
Oh my god.
As tough as they get, because we do the fun stuff. Like I don't mind the working outside of it.
Yeah.
Airsoft guns and paintball is all great, but then it's the routine that they have and the structure they have in the day to day, the waking up early.
Yeah. The
uniform, like everything is so strict.
Yeah.
It's really impressive what they go through.
It's like he has a philosophy in that book. It's called Taking Souls. And I think that's so it's like almost like I kind of laugh at it and I don't like take it as serious as I should. But he's like, his idea is if I work as hard as I can, harder than the person that's telling me how to work, then I'm going to have their soul. Like, you know what I mean? Like
it does make a huge difference.
He's a 40% rule. It's like, if you think you've done 100%, you're only at 40.
Right.
And that shit's crazy to me. I love that book. Like, he's a pull-up genius, like a pull-up animal, runs in like the fucking desert for like hundreds of miles.
That dude, his ultra marathons are nuts.
Yeah.
The 100 plus mile runs,
it like gets my hands sweaty like, just thinking about like, it's stuff like that gets my anxiety going. And then did you ever see the guy who climbs El Capitan in Yosemite?
No.
So there's this guy who, talk about laser focus. All he cares about is climbing up, free solo, no harnesses, up in a ledge that's like almost a mile high. It's 3 Empire State Buildings. Just on his hands. Just with his hands, it takes him about a day. Like, that's crazy. That is like zeroed in focus, concentration, don't care about anything else. You have to turn off everything else in your life for like the time you're preparing to the time you make it to the top. And I watched that when I'm like, all right, that guy knows how to focus. You know what I mean? I would recommend that. That's just like just crazy. Like
that level of focus is near impossible to obtain.
Yeah, man. I get like so hot and cold with the gym too. It's like, all right, like here I just did a bench press PR. All right, I'm just gonna chill here for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just did a squat PR. All right, I'm just gonna chill here for a little bit until I like get that like fire going again. I see someone else, like one of my buddies. You know what I mean?
That's really important to feed off other people's energy too.
Yeah.
If you have your buddies crushing it, it really helps you to crush it and back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have so you work for like on the side, you show houses, you sell houses?
Yeah, I work as a real estate agent on the side.
How long have you been doing that?
2 years now.
Okay.
Today's January 3rd? 2 years today.
Really?
Yeah.
You got your okay.
I got my license 2 years ago today.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, man. We're like, I feel like you're like just 4 years old. Like, well, you are 4 years old, but I feel like you're just like, kind of like what I want to do, like how I want to like go about these things.
Sure. I mean, you're on your way. You almost have your license already, so.
Yeah.
Just gotta keep grinding it out.
I did the one test before COVID. You have to do 2. That's
yeah.
What, 40 hours? Now it's like, it used to be 30 and then 40 hours. So I did the one test. Then the day I'm taking my second test to get my license, huge lock and chain on the door of the library that I was taking at. COVID. You know what I mean? So then all this shit just went in, like, you know, the dumb stuff you never see anymore.
Right.
All like the dates and like numbers and stuff like that. Just, it all went out of my head. It all went out. Sure. So I'm relearning it. I downloaded the course again. It's for like $20 extra.
No, that's not bad.
Yeah. So we're getting there. We'll see. I want to do you mind if I do some ads and then?
Yeah, do them up.
Okay. So
love to see it.
Our first one, guys, is lovebracelet.org. It is a domestic violence jewelry company. If you use the promo code Rich from the Net, you can get jewelry there. They donate half of their money to domestic violence charities. So go check out that website, and it's thelovebracelet.org. For all they have, good him and her bracelets. Then I had another ad. I was just gonna promote your Instagram. Do you have anything else you wanted to promote? Your website?
Yeah, right now I'm not super focused on promoting my businesses, but that GoFundMe for the children, the 100,000 push-ups for $100,000 this year, that's big. We're doing it for the Philadelphia Children's Foundation.
Sweet.
What all the money goes to is boosting up the educational inequality, so it gives students like extra resources. It promotes after-school programs for some of the inner city kids. And one of my like big goals and dreams right now is to make Philadelphia the coolest city on earth. Like I have plans to build a bar this coming year. I have I'm trying to build up the area a lot. I want to give back to the kids, make sure they're getting opportunities. So
very important.
Whatever I can do to make Philadelphia bigger, badder, stronger, cooler, that's what we're working on. So just shout out to that GoFundMe.
GoFundMe, okay. So, I'm sorry, GoFundMe. What was
it's
link?
called Push Up the Education System.
Push Up the Education System. I'll put a link in the bio, and then I'll probably flash something on the screen. And then we have jqcreativeservices.com. She's a girl based out of Miami and South Florida. She does video editing, photo editing, content design, lifestyles, like lifestyle videos, portraits, and any kind of content you can imagine. Her name is Jess Quinlan. She is currently designing my logo, and I got in contact with her via Instagram. And then finally, we have a local business called teasemebabe.com. They're selling graphic apparel. That is, the owner of that is Sophie Greenbaum, and head over to teasemebabe.com for any females graphic tees. They got super sexy models over there. All right, that's all the ads I have. So let's see.
Quite a diverse mix of ads going there.
I know. Yeah,
I love it.
I like to promote. I make about $30 a podcast, but I like to promote things I like. You know what I mean? Like people.
There's no other way to do it.
Yeah. That's the main thing. Is like I just love learning about entrepreneurism. Like I would have never known you are involved with charity. I would have never knew you were doing the push-ups and stuff, or pull-ups and stuff like that.
Sure.
And until you came over here.
Right.
So, it's pretty cool. I think that's it. Let's see. I got some. These are just some of the books I'm reading. I don't know if you really care about that.
No, I'd love to hear about
them. We got Long Distance Real Estate. That is a Bigger Pockets book. Are you on Bigger Pockets?
I am. The showing I did this morning was from a guy through Bigger Pockets. He
really?
He found my profile on there and asked me to show him something. So
did you read that book? It's all about people who do rehabs and investment properties across state lines. If you're not necessarily able to go to the property, stuff like that.
I haven't.
What do you think about that?
I haven't. Some of the Bigger Pockets books they push early on are really good. Mm-hmm. And I definitely recommend a lot of ones they feature. That one I never got into because it didn't interest me so much. Yeah. As you may have noticed, I'm more of the white collar end. I like local. I like networking.
Philly.
I am not very into the construction side of things. I have people just handle that on their end. But if that's something that you like,
if you have any questions, let me know. I'll try and do the best I can.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing is that you see the real estate world very differently than I probably do, and there's a million ways to make money with it. And that book sounds like it would strike some of those Midwestern towns and a lot of places out west that are a little cheaper and more advantageous to get started with. But tell me a little bit about what you read in there.
I really it really preached the way to if I would recommend reading it, but if not, it really shows you a little bit of insight on how to converse with contractors. Because I feel like that is the biggest like disconnect that contractors have with investors and stuff like that. Is like sometimes the contractors feel like they're being talked down on by like investors, or sometimes like a investor feels like the contractor is not really pulling his weight or like finishing on time. It's just like the best, like my boss who like owns my company that I work for, he's the best example. He's a fan of the podcast. He is both, like, so he does like both, like he can wear a suit and pitch his company to a REIT in New York, but he can also like come out into the field and get his hands dirty, swing a hammer, show a guy how to roof it, like a roof or like something like that. So in this book I like kind of like realize like they kind of come at it as like a strategic way to deal with a contractor, but the best way to get a contractor to like complete your job for you on time with quality work would be like showing them that you can do it yourself, but you're just choosing to use him because you value him more than yourself. You know what I mean?
Sure.
If that makes any sense. Yeah, so I work with a lot of like blue collar guys on a daily basis, and it was just a perfect fit because like I can relate to them, like smoking cigs with them and like doing like, not I don't smoke, but like doing like bro shit, like bullshitting about like sports and stuff like that. Like that's kind of like what they do. And then once you gain that camaraderie, that respect, they'll get the job done, and they'll do it on like earlier than on time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I mean, they all have the ability to do that, and it's just where you fall in that balance. And if they feel like they're just like another part of the equation to you, or they're like really people you care to work with.
Yeah.
So finding that definitely makes a big difference. Do you have any areas you'd be looking to target for long distance investing?
That's a good question. No, I do not. So right now I bought this place for right before the pandemic for $90.
Okay.
And I'm going to move out on the 15th.
Okay.
So I'm moving into with my buddy. I'm just renting. And then I'm going to accrue like my salary. So I paid for that up front.
Okay.
So I'm going to accrue my salary for this year and like stuff like, so I want to get like a business. Like I want to get like probably an industrial space, like maybe like a auto body shop or something like that.
Sure.
Like a 2-car, something small that I can afford. But I think, we just switched businesses. Like, so at my shop, I'm located in Levittown. It was like a auto glass shop. So we converted it into like property preservation company.
Okay.
Like headquarters. So we have an office, and then we have that like headquarters. We keep the dump trucks and the all the locks for the lock changes and cleaning supplies and all that. And I really learned a lot like renovating this place. I like scraped the floors with a diamond bit and like put epoxy on it, like sprayed, bought a spray painted, like just renovated the whole entire place. I'll send you pictures.
Yeah, please.
And I really learned that it can be done in like a month. Like no matter what it is, as long as it's nothing too crazy, you can make a good looking place, like just you, maybe a buddy or two, completely like put in like $100,000 worth of like equity into the place in like a month.
Right.
So that's what I'm looking to. I think Conshohocken is, because I'm moving to Conshohocken, so I would do that like in a heartbeat. As long as I gotta find something. So maybe if I get my license, I can look for myself. But that's my next move. For long term would be to find like an auto body spot. Like it's like maybe one guy is trying to run his own show. Maybe have a mechanic or two, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
That's pretty interesting. So you don't mind staying local with your real estate investing?
No, I think like since I'm like new to that, like this is my original plan was to be living here for a little bit, and then like rent this room out, and then eventually like rent this room out. But then COVID hit. I didn't want to bring any, like I was like my family members are immunocompromised,
Okay.
Now I don't really care because like they both had it, so they're like
Okay.
they kind of like
Scare.
they have the immunity or whatever it is.
Sure.
Like they don't care either.
Sure.
And they didn't even get affected. So it was like, all right. So now that I can't have anyone living with me, stuff like that. But I'm gonna rent this place out and then go from there.
That'd be cool. So do you have tenants lined up already?
No, I'm gonna. I have to find someone. That's the thing.
I'm sure it won't be too tough. What does a place like this go for?
1,100.
Okay.
Rent it for 1,100 because it's 2 bedrooms. Nice. They fully renovated this place when I bought it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a solid return on 90.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I'm new to it. I don't really know like what the right way is. Just, like what do you really have to do? Just dive in and just do it.
As long as you're screening them, you're fine.
Yeah.
As long as you're like getting the credit and background checked, you shouldn't have to worry about too much else.
Right. So I had a realtor. She's like a family friend, but I just want to do my own thing. Like I want to get my own realtor. I want to be my own realtor. So
you can definitely do your own thing on stuff like this. It's easy. It's worth it.
So
but make sure you're like checking their income and their credit and their background.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all right. So after that book, that one's stupid.
One thing to go into about long-term investing too is that it's a good thing for the exact opposite reason that people think. A lot of people want to invest in their town so they can be near their rental, but most people don't have the knowledge it takes to even be doing the stuff that they're trying to stay around it for. Like if you're not handy, there's no real reason for you to be the one that's near the property.
Yeah,
it's the same thing whether it's right down the street or a couple states away. Like you're going to be calling someone else to go do it, so you don't need to be near it.
Yeah, I agree. So do you have a guy like that you trust and like you'll send out?
I have a whole team of people that will send out, and it just depends on whoever's like closer at the time or whoever's on the schedule. Just it's for us, it's important with the size portfolio that we have to have someone be able to be there immediately. Especially if people are only staying in town with us for a couple days at a time. Like,
right.
The longer an issue takes, the higher percentage of their trip
I clogged my toilet. You probably gotten that call like middle of the night.
Yeah, you'll get those.
Yeah, man. I see. My favorite thing is, well, I can fix like a busted sink. I can fix a leaky toilet, rocking toilet. I can clean the pipes out of the whole entire like property. I'm not too good at industrial. Like I'm not bad at it. I just have the mind for it. I'm just like, oh, what's going wrong? Let's fix it. Let's turn off the water. I mean, pipe burst. Someone stole a copper. Stuff like that. Like I can go to the street, shut it off, cap the thing if you can't shut it off the street. That kind of stuff. Like problem shooting. That's like my specialty. That's like what I learned on the job too. And like with these foreclosures, like it's amazing. It's like you can fucking punch a hole in the wall and no one will give a shit as long as like, you know what I mean? Like it's like
it's a different space of issues that you're dealing with.
Yeah,
entirely.
My thing is like I'm not a luxury. Like you're probably in the luxury side of things, like a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm like more crude. Like I'll rip out this like oil tank and like just like torch it down and like slice it up and put it on the truck and haul it away for, $50 or something, whatever the bank says. And that's like say there's a hole in the roof, like someone was up there, stepped through a hole in the roof. I'll go slap a piece of plywood on it, put some tar on it, like easy in and out in an hour, and call it a day. It doesn't have to look pretty as long as it's functional. That's how I like kind of like approach things. You know what I mean? So when it's someone else's, like this, because it's the bank. Like this is because it's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Like they're not in the business of owning houses. They're in the business of making money. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, all right, let's make ourselves money so they can make money and like get it sold. That's how I approach it. I try and like pinch pennies here and there. So eventually, if I do stay in this sector, stay in like foreclosures, I can know how to do everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's a huge market that's untapped, is the foreclosure market. That's something that you could probably have a lot of success working in.
It's so I don't know exactly, like my boss hasn't really showed me the business model per se, but from what I've gathered from my going to college for finance and stuff like that, I believe it's the bank, like, so I think Freddie Mac and Freddie Mac allocate like 5 G's per foreclosure per year to each house. So we get that 5 G's, and then we have to use that money to keep the lights on and make sure the roof doesn't cave in.
Right.
Make sure it doesn't get broken into. If it does, it comes out of our 5 G's. Maybe it's more than 5 G's, it comes out the next house. You know what I mean? So you kind of got to play with it.
It's a whole business model.
So that's how we work. I know I have to keep the houses. I first started out with 170 houses. Now I'm at like 2 something, and I just go around all day and check on them. And I make sure the guys are cutting the grass, and make sure there's no dead animals or squatters and stuff like that.
Sure. That's almost like foreclosure property management.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's kind of cool because you don't really, like I said, like you can punch a hole in the wall, and if you want to say, hey, I want to learn how to do hole repair on a wall,
sure,
you can, find a hole in one of your houses that's like that showed up,
right,
and learn how to do it yourself. It's cool. I'm passionate about that side of things, so I'm trying to get more passionate about the other, like your side. You know
sure.
what I mean? Okay, so believe it or not, David Goggins had a boy. He was his drill instructor. Not for, it wasn't for, what's it called, Hell Week?
Yeah.
So it was after that. So where they like learn the technical stuff, like
sure,
how to fly and shit and
sure,
whatever. I don't really know. And his name is Jocko Willink, and he wrote the book called Dichotomy of Leadership.
Sure.
Have you read that? Have you heard of it?
I don't know that book, but I've heard of Jocko. He's becoming a pretty big name.
Yeah. So he's a jiu-jitsu guy too, but he's also like been in the like a SEAL team leader for about like 20 or 30 years now. And I follow him on Instagram, and he's an inspiration not only to waking up at 4:30 and learning about your day and stuff like that, but he also like is a businessman, like absolute businessman. He does consulting for companies that are struggling, like big companies. So he'll come in and find the leadership issues within a company. So I highly recommend, if you haven't read his book, you probably have a bunch of people that you lead on a daily basis.
Sure.
And that would be just another, arrow in the chamber, or whatever you call it, the bullet in the chamber.
Right. No, I mean, it's Dichotomy of Leadership is what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have to check that out.
And then Extreme Ownership he wrote as well. He's a really good author. And yeah, like I said, the best way to consume these books is downloading audible.com. You can speed up the sound to
That's awesome.
1.3. You can do this on YouTube as well. And you can consume, say you want to listen to a lecture on real estate.
Sure.
For an hour. You can speed it up so you can listen to it in 40 minutes.
That's awesome.
You can still understand it completely. It's just a little bit quicker. And you can still yeah, it's amazing. Like the life hacks that like I found throughout like starting a podcast during the pandemic, like, and also even like being in real estate has just been amazing. Like I'm so grateful that we grew up in this time. You know what I mean?
Everything's right there for us.
Yeah.
Everything. It's so much easier. I mean, I'm not super thankful that we went through COVID, but
yeah. Well, you created a business during COVID.
Yeah, it definitely was a curse, but you had the chance to go back and really just reflect on everything and start over in a sense.
Right.
Throughout COVID.
Do you think you would have done it?
Not at the scale that I was able to accomplish it. No, not even close. I would have been juggling too many things to make it go as quickly as it was going, and I wouldn't have been able to focus on it as laser focused as I can. So
right.
It makes COVID made a huge difference in being able to get it started.
I think, it like for the people who have that entrepreneurial spirit, that people that want to do their own thing, who hate having a boss, like I'm never gonna have as soon as this is gonna be my last job. You know what I mean? This is only this after this job's over, this is a start line. So it's like for people who don't want a boss, COVID's probably the best thing that could have happened to you. It makes you, worry about the things that only matter to you, about yourself. It gives you time to be alone.
Right. And then it just, especially with everything shut down everywhere, not just like your workplace, but everywhere.
Yeah.
And you have so much time being alone and a chance to reevaluate it. It makes such a huge difference. And you're only 24.
Yeah.
So for you to already have it planned out to not have a boss ever again, sooner than later, is incredible.
Yeah. I hope I'm
really
right.
Cool.
Yeah. So what were you doing at 24? You were still selling insurance?
Yeah. So I worked as an insurance adjuster.
Okay.
So I handled claims for a pretty big insurance company, all financial claims. So in fact, I handled errors and omissions insurance claims against property managers.
Oh, so what does that mean? I have no idea. I kind of know.
Even your company alone. So you guys, if there's something wrong with the process that you're doing, let's say you guys break into a door that you were instructed to by the bank, but turns out they were in there and they had the right to be in there, and the bank wasn't supposed to do that.
I've done that.
Yeah, I'm sure that happens to you all the time. So when
I think I'm allowed to say that.
So when those homeowners end up having a lawsuit against the bank or your company or whichever,
I've walked into a guy in the shower, I was because I had the key. Somehow he got a key, and I walk in to do an inspection. I've been there before, just taking my picture, blah blah blah, and I go upstairs and I'm like, oh shit, the shower's on. And he's just I'm like, hello? And he's like, hello? I startled him. So that's happened.
Right. And 99% of the time you guys are supposed to be there, but in those off communication sessions where you're not supposed to, and they end up suing the bank or you guys, you guys have insurance for that.
Yeah.
And when those claims come in, I look at it and I read through the lawsuit, I read through your insurance policy, and I try to see what's supposed to be happening with that.
So, do you see yourself as a side hustle, getting back into insurance or not?
There's no shot. Yeah.
All right, cool.
that was to put the bread on the table, so to speak. But now it's such a thing in the past and was such a small percentage of the income that it's not something I go back to because it's not a passion of mine.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. So, if you were to something in real estate, if you were to pick a category of real estate to learn about right now, what would you choose? Would you just continue with what you're doing, or if you were I want to really kind of get my mind around something, what would it be?
I'm trying to learn technology better than anything, which is a weird answer when it comes to real estate, but my goal is to be one of the top hospitality players in the industry and provide the best experience for all our guests. And at this point, it's more of figuring out the tech and the people that can help make that happen.
Right.
A lot of people I'm partnering with someone who's been doing all the development, who does all the construction. And as much as I would love to learn that, it goes back to what I talked about earlier with essentialism. I want to be good at one thing.
Yeah.
And let other people be good at the other thing. I don't want to start from the ground and try to learn how to build things. You already are way more handy than I am. I can tell you that up front. And I would rather let you get better at that and me get better at the tech side. Yeah. So that if we were to team up in some capacity, we have the best tech side and the best handy side that there is. Yeah. Whereas diving into other things, other than to just have a base knowledge of it, so you're not getting ripped off. Yeah. That's one thing, but I would rather just stay with what I do and learn more of the tech side of everything.
That's a good thing to do. So, like I said with Rich from the Net, I kind of want to. So actually, in college, so what funded I didn't have a job in college, so I don't have any student loans. What I did was sell T-shirts.
Okay, cool.
So that being said, we were like, all right, we don't want to do the drop shipping route, which we should have done, but
you're right.
We literally like formed me and my buddy formed an LLC. We were at 2 colleges, like we had storefront locations, formed an LLC, but we were selling online. We had a merchant's license with the bank and stuff like that, and it really like that was a learning curve. Like this girl who's in my ad, her name's Sophie. She just started doing the same thing. And I'm really like helping her out. Not really helping her out, but like she'll ask me questions here and there because she's known like what I go through. Like I'm like, t-shirts is not fun to sell. Like it's high profit margins and if people are really buying them, if you have like good marketing and stuff like that. But setting up the website, setting up like being able to sell online.
The back end and the infrastructure is so much more of a headache than people realize it is.
Yeah. And
it's knowing how to do it. So if you know someone who knows how to do it and can guide you through it, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
But trying to figure it out and navigate that on your own, kudos to you guys at a young age getting that. And it's very nice of you to be helping her out too.
Yeah. So we did that and then it fell through. It was half of it was for charity, and then the other half like we were reinvesting back into the company.
Cool.
And like being able to just feed ourselves. And then when we dissolved the company, I was able to pay off my loans. But what I want to do here, so I want to talk to you about. I wanted to talk to you about things like I'm gonna get a website going for Rich from the Net, and I also want to do almost like a forum for like finance and real estate. Sure. So I want to like kind of like a message board almost on my website.
Okay.
Where people can just input their like hey, I'm doing this over here, like here's a networking night, like show up at the the Marriott over here at 5:00. Like I want to do like almost like a online networking like / like meetups, stuff like that.
Sure. That'd be really cool.
Stuff like that. And
when are you getting that going?
Sooner rather than later. I wanted to have it so when you came here I could show it to you, like the beta form, but I didn't. This weekend has just been. I had my buddy in from Pittsburgh, and we were just boozing. Like we were just like, because the gyms were closed. I was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna, because they're opening up tomorrow. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That'll be great.
They're opening back up tomorrow, so I can't wait for that. But I want to sell T-shirts, and then I'm a huge coffee guy.
Okay.
Are you a coffee guy?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I should have offered you some. I do my like own like brew.
Okay.
It's not like I just mix a bunch of beans that I buy from different spots that I like, and I put them all in one.
Awesome.
And like I'm like tinkering with which flavor I like. So I'm doing that, and then I'm gonna put that on the website. Like hopefully I'll be able to sell coffee. There'll probably be some hiccups that'll be on there, and then I'm gonna do T-shirts, and then anything else that comes up, if stuff like if someone wants me to sell something of theirs, I'll sell it for them if I like the product. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah, there's a lot of directions you can take it, but it would be really cool once you have that up and running.
Yeah.
So what's the goal with the podcast at this point?
Just literally learn about people. I found is if you don't focus on, you have a better time if you don't focus on getting more followers. If you don't focus on trying, you make it like you need to do this, not like you want, or make it like you don't need to do this. Make it like look like that you want to do this.
Right.
Just showing people that you're like here for like wholesome stuff, not here for like flashy glitz and glam. Because like everyone, like I have my one buddy, he does a sports podcast, the Price is Right podcast.
Okay.
And I had him on to get his feet wet because he just started doing podcasts. So,
sure.
Is this your first time doing a podcast?
Third or fourth.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh okay. Well, you're gonna have to send me that. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, sure. I think yours is one of the more publicized ones. Like you do a better job of getting your stuff out there than some of the other guys.
Yeah. So, I only have 30 subscribers. So
sure.
I'm sure making a video is the easy part. It's like getting people to watch. It's the hard part.
Right.
Getting the views out there. So what I learned is if you have 50,000 views and 1,000 followers, you can start monetizing. Again, that can be another stream of income. So we'll get there one day. As long as I can bank a bunch of these episodes, just the network's gonna grow.
Staying with it too, it's the biggest thing.
Yeah, man.
Most of the time, it won't go backwards unless you stop doing it.
Yeah.
So all you can do is
keep plugging.
Keep plugging, and you only get better at it. So no one gets there overnight.
So last thing I want to talk to you, and then I'll let you get out of here. I know you probably got some stuff to do. The Tesla. You just bought a Tesla.
Yeah, I thought that's what we were talking about for most of the podcast.
Oh, really?
Because you hit me up after I made that video.
Yeah. Well, I just loved, like, I could just see the motivation, like, on your page. So if you keep hammering it, like, and then go on YouTube and watch other guys that are doing what you do, you'll learn. So what's going on with the Tesla?
So I rented out. I bought it, and I think it was...
When did you buy it?
I got it about 2 weeks ago, and only a couple days after I first got it, I rented it out.
There you go.
Yeah. So I put it on an app called Turo.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
They do like fancy sports cars?
It could be anything. You can get anything from like a $20 a day rental on a beater car, or all the way up to $300, $400, $500 a day for some really high end cars. Wow.
So you do your Tesla on there.
I put the Model 3 on there, and I mean it wasn't for me because I already do the same thing with houses, like with luxury houses. Like I'll buy a $500,000 house and rent it out the first day I get it. So to me, to just buy something and rent it out that's luxury is second nature.
Right.
But this guy in particular is my first time doing Turo, and to hand him, there's not actually keys to cars. It's like a little credit card. So I hand him like the Tesla credit card, and I'm showing him what to do with it, and he just takes the car, and he's supposed to be back in 2 days.
And he did.
And he came back with it. Back with it, and it was cleaner than when I left it with him. So it was a pretty cool experience. He brought it back fully charged.
And you were probably tracking him on your phone where he was going.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I got the Tesla is you can track where it's going. You can track how charged it is.
Yeah.
You just know what's going on with the car at all times.
That's smart, man.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely have you on again. I would love, like, if you want to come back anytime, let me know.
Sure.
There's more things you want to talk about, promote. We can do we can talk about like your company and how it's going. And then I'll like keep you updated with my stuff. I kind of move at a slower pace. I got so much ADD going like in my brain at all times. Like I'm FaceTiming with this guy, like talking to my buddy over here, like hatching up new plans over here and there. So I kind of don't do the essentialism. But
I was about to say read your book. That could help you out a lot.
I'm gonna read it. That's like right up my alley. Yeah, man. So.
And that's another thing that I think I do a good job of. I get distracted really easily and like to be in a million different places at once, a lot like yourself. Mm-hmm. But everything that I do connects with each other. So I own the cleaning company, I own the trash collection company, I own the property management company. And with all those things, like even if I don't want to work on like property management one day, I can work with the cleaners and work on that company. And I can bounce back and forth. But they all, by making one of those things better, the whole ecosystem gets that much better.
Okay, so you have a bunch of companies.
So it's about finding a way to link everything that you're doing.
Like,
some days I know you like to work on the pod. Mm-hmm. Other days you're stuck at work.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's how do you tie all those things together? And if you can't tie them together, then one of those things needs to go, and you can bring in a new hobby that you can tie into there.
Okay, so let me ask you this real quick. Have you found a way to allocate your... Like, say you want someone to run, like a manager to run your cleaning business or your trash business.
Sure.
Do you find it hard to, let someone take the reins more than like you'd, like, I'm trying to...
Yes and no. From a personal standpoint, like being able to give that control up, no. If that's what you're asking.
Yeah,
but the harder part is the other end is finding someone who's capable of doing that.
That's what I mean.
So finding the right person who can handle that. And oftentimes these partnerships are strategic. I don't go in to these things by myself. I make sure that there's someone on the other end with me who is going to be able to take that.
Yeah.
And then I leverage my ability to build a business and the connection and scale that I have in all three to build up that person and be like a good partner for them.
Yeah. So I have another question. I don't know if I'm trying to leverage my ability to start a business, do I need capital? So right now in my bank account, I have about 50 grand.
Sure.
Should I have more or should I have less?
50 grand is plenty to get started with anything. And it's not just about capital, it's about the brand that you're able to build. So with whatever direction you're trying to take, you just have to build that brand, because once it's built, the rest is easy from there. Like for me, now that we manage 70 something properties, it's really easy to build a cleaning business out because the work is there.
Yeah.
Same with the trash. And then vice versa. It's like
gotcha.
Those guys are super on board because they know it's going to keep growing.
Yeah.
And because I have them now pushing so hard and putting in the effort because they know how big of a client that the management business is.
Yeah.
The management is solidified and I can grow it, and it just keeps feeding back and forth. So it's not about capital at this point. It's about the ecosystem that you're creating. And if you can get your podcast brand up, that'll build itself over. You don't need any money to drive it because it will drive itself.
Right. So the best thing to do is to create a yin and yang with a couple of different things.
Right.
And
for you, that could be different podcasters. Like that yin and yang could be with a couple of different podcasters to promote each other's stuff every here and there. And just however you want to shake it. But it's not always a capital game.
Yeah. So do you collaborate with guys that are like similar, like have 3 million on track to do 3 million revenue, like kind of guys that same size as you or bigger?
Yeah, and that's another thing that I try to make sure I have time for and I'm pushing is the network that I'm working with. I try to make sure I stay in contact with these big name players all the time and getting coffee with them regularly.
Yeah,
and just see where their head's at and vice versa. So
yeah, that's the biggest thing. Get coffee, get caffeinated with the big guys.
Yeah,
I think even shooting them a text like, hey, how you doing? What's up? Like calling them. My boss is expert at, hey man, just call and check in. What are you up to?
Right.
So it's just like stuff like that. It's like, oh, I know he cares and he's just taking 5 minutes out of his day to solidify all these networks.
Right.
Because he has a couple companies himself, and that's smart. It's just a smart thing to do.
Yeah, and I mean, you're never gonna get hurt by having more connections.
Yeah. All right, man. I'll let you get out of here. I know you probably want to knock out some push-ups.
Yeah, definitely some on the plate for later today.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, man. Thank you very much for coming out. You're welcome back anytime. Just finally live free with JD is the Instagram. I'll link you in the bio, and I'll send you a rough cut before I post it.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure. Do you want to take a ride in the Tesla? Do you want to give it a ride?
Oh yeah, I'll bring we'll do a little film. Yeah,
sure.
Oh sweet, hell yeah. All right, guys, thanks. I appreciate it. Peace.